us on MyStockScanner Live. As always, we translate the chaos of the markets into clear signals. Our tool for that is seeing the market through the 3-point playbook lens. If you're looking at your screen right now, you will notice that today's trio is a duo. Liam Flavell has the day off, and Hans-Henrik Nielsen is the lone wolf with the answers. That means that I will fire off questions to you, Hans-Henrik. And from the start, Hans-Henrik, let's just stress that Liam Flavell is not Scottish. He is Irish, and therefore he's not out celebrating a football score from yesterday. And let's not talk more about that. We're not receiving any questions about it, neither on FOMO at mystockscanner.com, which is
I don't think I can hear you. You said something about no football?
No, nothing.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's true. He's prepping new features for our site, and then of course he will be on our extra show tomorrow with Thursday Tech, and it's because we also get NVIDIA earnings tomorrow, so he will be a great part of the extra show at noon tomorrow. Hans-Henrik, today we get to crunch a couple of numbers, and of course we will talk a little bit about NVIDIA. It's impossible not to.
Yeah, definitely. It's such a big player, and we will get back to the poll we did yesterday, where people thought they would open tomorrow. So there are some very, very high optimists and very low pessimists in there.
Hey, that's the way it should be. We should spread everybody out thin, just like Nutella on a piece of bun. But let's not get into specifics in regards to that. On the show today, we will, as Hans-Henrik just mentioned it, look at the Wednesday watch list, which is the result of our Tuesday poll that we had on our social media. And apart from that, we will look at NKT. It's up by more than 15% as I'm speaking here. And then we'll hammer a nail into the numbers from Home Depot in the US. They came out yesterday. And those numbers might give an insight to the state of the United States. And yesterday was a sour day on the market. It didn't make us sell anything of our portfolio. We went back into mines. Our members know what mining stock it is. And Hans-Henrik, it was fairly red today. When I look up today, Danish market up by 1.3. If I look at the other screen, I can see that we're looking at the indices, the futures are looking fairly green in the US as well. Do you expect that that's sort of an indicator of anything NVIDIA?
It's a weird market right now, and there's no doubt that NVIDIA has become a macro event. It's almost like the NFP job numbers or something like that. I think there's a lot of rumors and buying up towards the earnings. Where tomorrow will end is impossible to predict.
Okay, let me ask you a quick question. If you had $236.4 million, will you put them into NVIDIA?
Some of them I would.
It's the number of the day. Somebody put that into something last night, and we will tell you what it is towards the end of the show. But right now, we turn our attention to numbers on the Danish market. NKT, the cable company in Denmark, had some numbers coming out, and Hans-Henrik, I'm not sure if they're amazing or out of this world or whatever it is, but the price is going to the sky.
It is. Let's just have a look at it here. This is NKT today. And as you can see here, this big candle, let's just make it a single screen. This is what we call a daily chart. And that means every single one of these is 1 day's worth of movement. And as you can see, it jumped up this morning and has just continued upwards. There's a lot of volume in here. And the numbers were fairly good. They are growing like they said they would. They are the earnings were somewhat better. I think it was actually something like 20% better, something like that. But what market also really liked was that they came out with a clear plan that they are calling charging forward. Both something about the electrical grid, the cables in the ground, but also a bit more about the structure of the company, how they will run it. And that was very well received. And I thought I would just quickly take it through our playbook so people
Sounds
can
good
see what
in that
ways
sense.
we are.
And then I'll ask you at the end if this could be a learning process for a company called Novo, because something about a clear path forward. That's
Oh
what a
yeah,
lot of
that could
companies
definitely be used. Anyway, NKT, I actually think we were in it earlier on, but we haven't been in it for a while here, and I'll show you why. When we look at the 3-point playbook, if there are any new listeners here, we ask ourselves 3 questions. Is it quality? Is there good potential, an upside potential? And is the timing right? And if we start with the quality part, it has a quality score of 66 out of 100. That is decent. As you can see, it's green here. Earnings per share has been going up, but the estimates are a bit lower. And I'll get to that in a second in our value chart, because that is one of the reasons why we haven't bought it. Revenue is going up. We can see that the return on capital employed, meaning that if you take all their capital, all their own capital, bonds they have issued, whatever they have done to get money, how much are they actually making on these money? And we can see that has been growing, and that is an indication that this is a well-managed company. They can squeeze more and more profit out of the capital they have available, and we can see that they can easily pay out their interest. Interest coverage means how many times over can they pay their interest with their earnings. So overall, it's an absolutely decent quality company. On the value chart, and this is where we look at price earning multiplied by earnings per share, meaning we have the estimates for the earnings into the future, and we multiply that with how much do we think investors are willing to pay for that earning. And as you can see here, there have been a downturn in the earnings per share this year. And that was expected. However, we rarely buy companies that have a drop in earnings. We are what is called trend followers, and that is normally looked on price. That you're buying stuff that goes up. But we also like trends in earnings and revenue and margins and everything else. So we want this freight train that is just chugging along in the right direction. And if something like this happens, and there can be a million different reasons for that, but if that happens, we are a bit reluctant buying it. Then there is a smaller earnings growth here, and it is expected that in 27 that will grow quite a lot. So if we are looking 2 years ahead, if we are expecting a price earning between 18 and 28, around there is absolutely a decent case here, between 4% in our bear case, 27 in our standard base case, and 55% in the bull case.
Can I ask you, Hans-Henrik?
Yeah,
that's of course before today. Now it jumped 15%. So
that was my next point here, because this was ending yesterday. So this is at a price of what, 712. Right now we are at 816. Which means that when we look at the chart right now, when we close today, the price will be up here somewhere. And that actually means that this one will be minus 11, because now it has jumped this much up. This will be something around plus 12, and this will be plus 40. And that actually means that right now we are not that interested in this, because with a minus 10 and a plus 10, 12-ish here, it's not the right risk to reward that we are going after. So yes, it would have been nice to own it before today, but at the current state, we wouldn't buy it. We would wait till it drops down towards the 700 again.
And if I may ask you, Hans-Henrik, and it's not to out anybody, but I saw somebody in a headline say, NKT can double in the next 5-6 years.
Oh, well, it can. And that is a good part about the software, because you can just add more years. So if we're down here and look at future years, we can just add more years and say, okay, we have now 27, 28, 29. So this is the beginning of 2020. What would happen if they grew by, let's just say, 15% the next couple of years in earnings? Well, then you can see, there you are, 105%.
So that's not outrageous. It's not an
no,
outrageous.
no.
number
It
to
just
put out
sounds
there.
fantastic. It's great clickbait saying, "Oh, this stock could double." Well, put the numbers in, and it's fairly easy to see. However, also remember that in our bear case, if people are not willing to pay quite as much, there is instead, let's see, what is that? The bear case, 37% over the next 5 years, which is not nearly as good. But you can play around with the numbers in the system, and that is quite educational.
And since we are now taking our tools out and showing our toolbox here in the 3-point playbook, then it's I bet it's pretty fitting that we go to the next stock that we're going to talk about today. That is, should we say, Sylvan in the US?
Yes.
In sense, the Home Depot. It's the place you go, whether or not you're a professional or an amateur fixing up your home, do it yourself. You might go to Home Depot a lot in the US, or Lowe's, that comes out with numbers, I think it's today or tomorrow. And Hans-Henrik, Home Depot came out yesterday. Let's just say the numbers weren't received that well. It was not that impressive. -6% yesterday for Home Depot.
Yes.
And again, it is sort of an indicator of what's going on in the US. In what fashion, Hans-Henrik?
Yeah, well, there are several things here. I just looked them up and went through their different earnings reports and articles about it. Because the thing is that early on they said that the tariffs would cause the prices to go up, or they would have to eat some of the tariffs themselves, and that they could feel an overall a bit more negative sentiment in the market. They're still writing about the negative sentiment, but as far as I can tell, the entire earnings report have been completely scraped with the word tariffs. It's not, as far as I can tell, it's not mentioned. However, they're saying that the lower economic growth is to fewer hurricanes and what is called a deferral mindset. I looked it up, and there have not been fewer hurricanes, and the ones that have been there have been quite harsh. However, there is definitely something about, due to high interest rates and people having less money, that people are saying, "Oh, this big restoring the house or whatever, let's push that to next year or next year again." People simply don't have the money to fix up their homes.
Really quickly, Hans-Henrik, in the 3-point playbook, because of course, like always, somebody just wrote and asked on FOMO at MyStockScanner.com, is it a buy the dip situation in regards to Home Depot? Is there anything to be had on Home Depot?
The thing is that it has a reasonable quality score, definitely. However, as you can see, there is a lot of red in here. The one called the PEG ratio is insanely high, but that is because the growth have kind of disappeared over the next year. That becomes better next year. But looking at it in the value chart here, you could say, yeah, this is you should buy now, because this is an area where it has bumped up from before, definitely. However, looking at this drop here, we can just have a look in the chart here. This is not a stock we would buy. It has dropped massively. We got a buy up here. You can see down here our MTI went to double red here. We might not have sold it here due to the 200 SMA, but then we would have sold it here. So right now it's absolutely not a buy for us.
It is all about the strategy. You stick to it. You sit on your hands when things go bad. If you're still within your strategy. And talking about sitting on your hands, we will get to that in a minute, because in the red market yesterday, in regards to the 3-point portfolio, we were sitting on our hands. We did nothing. As a matter of fact, we bought one stock for the portfolio yesterday. But before we get to that, let's get to, I'm almost going to say, the elephant in the room. It's not fair about the guy on in the video right now, because that's Jensen Jung, and it'll be a leather jacket clad elephant then if it was to be him. But again, it is the company that moved the world economy in so many ways, Hans-Henrik. Today, as we said, a little bit of green. Denmark is up by 1.3% as we're speaking. Positive notes from the futures in the US. The world goes as NVIDIA goes, it seems like.
We often get the question, and that is not just NVIDIA, it could be anyone, saying, what are you doing when the numbers come out? And we don't really care about the numbers. We care about guidance. First of all, what do they think about the future? And then we care about how the market reacts to the earnings and the guidance. So we are not trying to be more clever than the rest of the market. We're basically just trying to look at what are the big guys doing. And I have a feeling that silently people are expecting more of NVIDIA that they're putting in the estimates. I think they will outperform everything. I will think they will come out with stellar numbers. The question is it enough? I have my doubts.
See, the thing was that in the market yesterday, when I look at the different chip makers in the US yesterday, AMD was down by 4.2%, MU was down by 5.5%, ARM 3%, Intel by 1%, Zendesk by 7.8%, and NVIDIA themselves were down by 2.8%. Pre-market says they're about even a little bit in the green. But if we ask the really wise people, the people that follow us, that's wise people, because we did that in the Tuesday poll, Hans-Henrik, and we gave them some options about how is it going to end tonight after the market has closed and the NVIDIA give their numbers. In the Tuesday poll, we asked our various groups on Facebook, you have the results of that.
Yeah. Just quickly, I picked two of the groups. This is our members group where a lot of our content get into. And you can see we had the different here. Was it a drop of more than 6 or over a rise of over 6 or anything in between here in 2% brackets here? And as you can see, there are not many in here in the middle. Most of them are, and that is a bit when we talk about stocks, there is a bias because a lot of people have the stocks. We should disclaim we have it as well in our portfolio. But as you can see here in our members group, we have 50% that thinks it will open, that when the market opens, it will open. And that is tomorrow, of course, because the earnings is after close tonight. But tomorrow it will open between 2 and above 6, 2 and up percent. It will open, and then there is 25% down here. When we look in the larger in ActionSnack here, we see that it is almost the same, 45%, something like that up here, and 25 here. So they are green quite a lot. But again, there are not many in the middle. People are either really optimistic or quite pessimistic.
And we will have an extra show tomorrow for you at 12 o'clock noon Thursday, because then we have the numbers from last night, or tonight rather, because that will be after market close tonight at 10 o'clock in the US, or in Denmark, of course, after 4 o'clock in the US and New York time. And we will crunch those numbers tomorrow. We'll talk more about if they hit the expectations or not. Right now, I'm almost going to say the headline in our show was that we were not selling yesterday. And right now, we're not selling NVIDIA either. But yesterday, it was tempting Hans-Henrik to sell because I won't say it was a bloodbath because it sounds more dramatic than it really is. And we are not drama queens. We might be when we discuss what's going on the show, but on the show, we're not drama queens.
Now, what we do a lot in the members group in MyStockScanner is trying to gauge what is the sentiment in the market. And right now, yes, the market went down and people are panicking on Facebook and social media. When I'm spending my entire day trying to suck up the sentiment in the market, and I don't sense panic. It will be absolutely perfectly normal if we get 5 to 8% down. We already got the first 5, so but that shouldn't make you panic. Also, as you said, we didn't sell, and one of the reasons on our website we have this learn section here, and in there's a 3-point playbook, an entire big course where we talk about our exit strategies. But one of the issues here is we are often looking at this green line called the 50-day moving average. Normally,
you just have to put it up on the screen. So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I thought you were looking at me, but I know that you're looking at the video here. So
yeah, sorry. Yeah. No, definitely. Here, I hope you can see it now. The green line here is called the 50-day moving average. So normally, when that is broken, that is our kind of exit signal. Also, we have our MTA daily signal down here that is red. However, the trend, the weekly, was still up. And we saw a lot of support. And you can ask yourself, what is support? It's not some magic area that is always respected, but it is where investors have come in and bought earlier on. So we had a dip here, they came in and they bought. And there is some psychological areas in this, and we could see definitely that down here at 177 there was an area, and again down at 168. We also look at the 200 SMA, but that was quite far down. Had that been the only one, we would have exited here. But due to all the earlier volume that had been traded here, we decided, also because of the earnings and because we didn't sense any major panic in the market, we decided to stick with it. Another one was Getinge, exactly the same. Normally we would have sold here, but because there was only a few percentage points down to 200 SMA, and there was some very good support here, we gave it a bit of wiggle room, so to say.
And Hans-Henrik, we have to be careful on time here, but I know that we have to touch up on that we bought a stock yesterday. And we're not going to tell what it is, because that's a privilege of the members of paying for the services that we provide and the tools that we have. But we are in the mining industry. It's an industry that we've been in a couple of times before. We have gone out with profit on Barrick and Royal Gold, and we dipped our toes into our mine yesterday. We can tell that much. But it's also something that you've written extensively about in articles that can be found on our website as well.
Yeah, definitely. What we touched on there was mostly silver and copper, because both silver and copper, they have simply not produced enough of it. There is a deficit of it, and we can see on towards 2030. They can simply not open new mines quickly enough to cover that massive explosion in usage of copper and silver that is in green tech, car, EVs, everything. So that is a fairly certain bet. We're not buying falling knives, of course, but if everything looks right, we would gladly scoop up some more mining stocks.
And it will be something that I know that you will get back to in future articles as well, on our website, on our platform, MyStockScanner.com. As mentioned, we have an email on our program. That's FOMO@MyStockScanner.com. If you have any questions for us, we gladly accept your questions and try to answer them. And Liam will as well when it comes to tech and when he's back on the show. And he will be here tomorrow. He's preparing Thursday Tech. I know that he had some not so fine language. As a matter of fact, some of it was pretty foul. And he said something core weave, and then that language.
He was yelling a bit at core weave.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, so that might be something for the article tomorrow. He'll also be discussing Apple. Right now, I'm almost going to say we're going to go from Apple to pears, or as a matter of fact, we're going to go to fine art. And the reason for that is the number of the day. $236.4 million. That what was Gustav Klint's portrait of Elizabeth Lederer brought in yesterday. So it's nice to see that people are not spending all their money on stocks. Some of it are spent on fine art. You would get this portrait that's 6 feet high. That's about 2 meters high. If you bought it, it wouldn't have been the most expensive art piece that ever been sold. That was at a Christie's auction in New York back in 2017. Salvator Mundi by Leonardo da Vinci was sold back at that time for $450.3 million. Or as we say here,
I would have chosen NVIDIA stocks any day.
You probably would. Today, apart from the NVIDIA earnings, we get TJ Maxx as well. That will also tell a little bit about how Americans are spending their money. That is a cheap store in the US that sells a lot of brand names that's been marked down. Target will come with earnings tomorrow. We get Walmart. So we'll learn a lot in the coming days.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's how the Americans spent their money.
Yeah, NVIDIA is a lot about where is AI, high tech, everything. The Walmart, the Target, the all of these retail stores are telling us how much money do Americans have to spend. If they don't have money to spend, everything else comes to a halt.
Yeah, and it's nothing to do with trickle-down economy. We want to underline that for sure. But as said, tomorrow there will be an extra show because this guy will go on stage. He'll probably wear another leather jacket. He's doing fashion show in that sense, doing the runway and wearing a new kind of leather jacket. And he will tell about how NVIDIA has fared so far in the latest quarter. And he'll give something that everybody's going to listen to, their expectations. Hans-Henrik, we asked our users, our members, how they saw the numbers when they opened Thursday morning in regards to up or down. And we gave 2% leeway. Come on, bring it up. What would your number be?
Well, I actually think it might drop a bit. But that is more because I think expectations are so high. I think they will hit the ball out of the park on the numbers, but I think people will have expected more. But let's see. I'm not expecting massive. Looking at the option market, they are expecting a potential plus or minus 8.5% though.
Oh, there we go. So then we have covered all bets, basically. But we shall tell tomorrow. Extra show at noon. Leon Flavel will be back in the office, and he will, of course, crank the numbers for us together with Hans-Henrik Nielsen here, our financial expert. So remember, tomorrow at noon, we will be back. We will have an extra show for you. Until then, happy investing.